Hi guys, and welcome back to the kingdom. I hope you've all had positive and productive weeks this week. So this week we are going to tackle the last instalment in my relationship mini-series thing, which is portrayal of romantic relationships in fiction. Last week we talked about tropes that irritated the snot out of me, and the week before that we talked about dangerous and abusive behaviours that are portrayed in media. But this week we're going to stop whining and get to fixing. We're going to talk about healthy relationships, how they should be portrayed in the media, why they're interesting to read about and to watch, and all of those other really good things. So let's do this. Healthy relationships are sexy, they're fun, they're enjoyable, they're interesting, they're romantic, they are fantastic things to read about. Most importantly, they're interesting. A relationship does not have to be toxic in order to be interesting. In fact, from a lot of what I've read, toxic relationships are all very samey. It is the healthy relationships, the unique relationships that fit around unique couples that are interesting. They are absolutely not boring. Even in healthy relationships, things come up that are going to make you struggle. There needs to be room for both of you to grow. There are going to be things that come up, objects or situations that test the boundaries that you have. But it's how they handle these situations with respect and reason and real love that make them so sexy and make me want to read about them and make me care about the relationship. So here are my tips for writing sexy, healthy romantic relationship. Let's start with a big one. Number 1, consent is sexy. Consent often gets missed out in novels, and it makes me want to gag. He kissed her with a force that he'd never felt before. She succumbed to his masculinity, melting into his muscles, running a hand over his rippled torso. They sprang at each other and clambered into the bed, with no words being exchanged, just moans of pleasure. Yeah, okay, whatever. What I'm waiting for is the consent. Consent is sexy. I want you. Do you want me too? I want to feel your hands on my body. Do you want that? Even a simple, shall we retire to the other room? The answer to can be sexy. The important thing is that it was verbal and enthusiastic. It also signals to the reader that your characters are excited about the hanky-panky about to happen, and as such shouldn't make them feel uncomfortable either. It signals to the reader that this is a good experience and that everyone's comfortable and happy about what's about to happen. Here's the thing about consent, which again I think is skipped over quite a lot. It's also needed in non-sexual situations. In fact, there are a lot of non-sexual activities that require consent. That's because consent is about being respectful towards another person's feelings and any actions that might impact upon them. Can I come over? Yes, that needs consent, because you can't just turn up at their house and force your way in, because that's not okay. Can I take you out tonight? Yes, you need consent, because you may have other plans that are really important and screwing them up is not at all reasonable or respectful. Sure, the whens, the whats, the whys, all of those things can be a surprise. However, again, this person needs to consent to being surprised. When I see a character being exceptionally considerate towards another character, I find that really cute. I find it really romantic. It's really sexy. It shows respect, it shows integrity, it shows emotional intelligence, it shows empathy, and it shows communication. It shows that this character is a functioning, considerate human being who values the other person. And that's hot. Additionally, something about consent that can also be really sexy is how they handle rejection. Can I come over tonight? No. That's a rejection. But if they handle it badly, if your bad boy character flies off the handle and punches a wall, if they get all arsey and demand an explanation and get really pryy, that's not hot. That's just being a douche. In real life, if my boyfriend says, no, I don't want to go out for a drink tonight, I accept it. I assume he has a good reason, and I assume it's a good one, so I don't need to go into any further detail. And guess what? I don't want to is also a good reason. Your character doesn't have to give up. You can absolutely suggest an alternative. Don't really want to go out tonight? Okay, that's cool. We could stay in instead, or we could do it another night, or why don't you come up with something and let me know? Those are all fairly reasonable answers. It's okay to try again. It's okay to come up with different things or be eager to see someone. But it is important to respect the no. Make sure your characters are receptive to the feedback that they're getting, that they respect it, and that they understand it. Even if it's a hard and fast no with no more information. If they respect it, that's hot. In fact, respecting boundaries is far more likely to get the panties to drop. Number 2 key to writing healthy relationships is for good communication. Granted, talking isn't always easy. But guess what? It's also not that hard. It just takes effort, caring, and you guessed it, a desire to communicate and fix issues. Now, if something is bugging your partner or getting on their nerves, what is the mature thing to do about it? That's right. Talk to them about it and try and understand the issue. Now, I get that some people have real difficulty opening up, particularly about things like PTSD or previous traumas and those kinds of things, and that is a character flaw, it is a human flaw, and it is relevant and interesting to see that in your novels. However, they should try to communicate that there is a barrier at the moment. Maybe I'll open up in the future, maybe I won't, but good communication around the subject does need to be had. Talking about things that have plagued you in the past, that have really hurt you in the past, can be exceptionally difficult, and I have personally experienced this. I have, in a number of occasions, been crying on my boyfriend as I'm telling him about things that happened in my past. It's unfortunate, but it was a difficult thing for me to do. The most important part was that we were communicating about it. I felt comfortable to do it. I wasn't forced to do it, and it was consensual. Your characters do need to show that they care and they want to understand what's going on. Don't be aggressive in your attempts to try and coax this information out of your character. Be calm, be caring, show that you love them and that you're here for them and all you want to do is support them. Now, of course, not all communication is verbal. Hold them while they're crying, write them a morning note, sit with them while they're anxious. Give them a smile. Characters can communicate in non-verbal ways just like us regular humans, and sometimes those actions can speak louder than 1,000 words. Misunderstandings happen. Miscommunication. It happens. However, if a lot of the miscommunications includes a lot of big leaping to conclusions and a smidge of bad luck, healthy couples will sit down and talk about it. They don't badmouth each other behind their backs or to their friends. They don't refuse to confront the issue that's tearing them apart. They face it, and they face it head on, and they face it together. And sure, couples fight. But in those fights, there will be certain actions and things that don't happen, such as name-calling or violence or unforgivable actions. Ensure in your novel that your characters are communicating in healthy and interesting and personal ways. It shows so much about the character. It shows caring, it shows respect, it shows reason, but it also shows a deep value for their thoughts, feelings and desires. And trust me, that is extremely attractive. The number 3 thing that I like to see written in healthy relationships is respect. Every healthy relationship will be founded on respect, mutual, deep respect for each other. Sure, you can look like an Adonis, but if I don't respect you, you are still gonna be disgusting as a human being to me. Respect must be earned, but if it's deep and mutual and the other person experiences it too, it's also incredibly sexy. Because respect shows value, it shows caring, and it shows a deeper connection. It shows a shared set of moral values and an unspoken high regard for each other's thoughts, opinions and feelings. Now, don't get me wrong, in order to respect someone, you don't have to agree on all of the fundamentals. They don't always have to agree on everything. They just have to respect the other person's point of view. For example, real life example, I have faith, my boyfriend does not. That doesn't tear us apart, we're not constantly arguing or bickering about it. He respects the fact that I have faith and all the things it gives me, and I respect the fact that he doesn't have faith and the reasons he's come to those conclusions. When I'm struggling with something, when there's something that's been weighing on my mind, he knows that I'm going to go to my Bible, I'm going to go to church, I'm going to seek solace with my faith, because that's how I handle situations. And I know that when he's struggling with something, he's going to use different techniques to handle that. And that's okay, so long as I understand them and respect them, and he does the same in return. If my boyfriend's down about something, battering him over the head with a Bible isn't going to help him. In fact, it's just going to push him further and further away. And because I love and respect him, I'm not going to do that. And guess what? Just a smidge of a hint. I find my boyfriend drop dead sexy because of the respect that we show each other. The number 4 thing that happens in mature, healthy relationships is forgiveness. Everyone screws up occasionally, but what matters is how couples handle those mistakes and how they forgive each other. Everyone screws up from time to time. I myself have a great ability for saying exactly the wrong thing to the wrong people. Completely unbeknownst to me, they're probably going through something, I don't know, say something about their nan, and I say something off the cuff about my nan, they burst into tears, I didn't know, it's just like foot in mouth disease, I'm awful. However, I then, when I realise I've upset someone, profusely apologise because I can't believe I've hurt someone. That affects me. I apologise in a mature fashion where I recognise I've done something wrong, I promise not to do it in the future, and show them how much remorse I'm feeling. And in return, because they're a mature adult, they accept my apology and forgive me. Apologies need to ask the offended party for forgiveness. They need to acknowledge full guilt for what has happened. They need to recognise what about their actions was wrong and why, and promise not to do it again. A good apology will be along the lines of, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you, and the fact that I did is not okay. I will try not to do that in the future. Please can you forgive me? No one is perfect, characters in our book included. However, in healthy relationships, there should be plenty of forgiveness about because mistakes happen. But that's only if the mistake is forgivable. If you go and sleep with your partner's best friend, guess what? That's not a forgivable mistake. That's just a selfish decision. Both the apology and the forgiveness is attractive. The apology shows and acknowledges that you value the other person's feelings and that you're mortified that you've hurt them. It shows a deep, caring connection for that person. Forgiveness is also attractive because it shows that you love this person even with their flaws, and that in your relationship that you've each got room to grow. And yeah, that's hot. Number 5 thing that should be written about in healthy relationships is happiness. Now, a lot of the time in novels, I feel like this one gets missed off quite a lot. But guess what? Healthy relationships bring happiness to both parties. Does your couple actually find any happiness when they're together? When I'm with my boyfriend, I'm happy. We can literally be sat there, I'll be writing my book, he'll be reading, or he'll be on one of his games consoles, and we're not really talking to each other, but just being with him in the same space of him makes me happy. Do any of the romantic relationships in your novel have moments where the characters find true happiness together? Even joy? Do they make each other feel better? Because you don't enter a relationship if they make you feel bad or nothing at all. Make sure your romantic leads find moments of happiness together. Potentially even moments of silliness. I don't know, tickle fights and rolling around on the floor, or other things where they can just forget what terrible a situation they're in and they find some true precious moments of joy together. That's hot, that's sexy, that's attractive, that's romantic. You can't tell me that a tickle fight or chasing each other around the garden for fun and laughing at each other's jokes isn't attractive. It's cute, it's romantic. Anyway, that's all from me this week. Because this video is a little bit rambly, I feel like there are more things I could talk about, so if you would like a part 2, let me know in the comments down below. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, comments, or things you'd like to say, as always, comments will be open, or hit me up on any of my social media platforms that will be appearing on the screen probably in like this area at some point. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I love chatting about things. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think maybe I've skimmed over some parts that I should talk about in more detail? Let's get chatting, because I do love to talk about books. Next week, I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about. I might try and tackle diversity in fiction and what that means to me. Again, a lot of my videos are opinion videos or what I think videos. But yeah, I hope you liked this video. I will see you next week. I hope you guys have positive and productive weeks, and I'll see you next time. Bye!